Hello Walking Dead fans, this is Solid Dave Snake bringing you another review on the Walking Dead building sets by Mcfarlane Toys, and this review is going to be on the Governor's Room. And I would say this is the best building set out of this first series. Of course, we haven't got the prison tower with gate yet. That got pushed back to January, but in general, even people that weren't necessarily looking forward to these building sets were still looking forward to this. And actually, if you aren't a fan of these building sets and are just a big Walking Dead fan, I still have to recommend getting this because this is a really, really neat set. And I'm just going to dissect the overall thing, show you how it's done, and right off the bat, I will go over the instruction manual for it, give you a quick look at it. On the cover, it has the governor sitting in his recliner with those fish tanks in the back. And it just shows how you have to build everything. Even his recliner that he sits in. To the figures themselves. And the wall of tanks. And kind of the biggest part of this manual is going over how to do the floorboards in the wall. And all the way at the back, it'll give you a piece count of what all is in the set. But some of this stuff is actually a little more complicated than you'd think. Some of it is relatively easy, but there's some really neat features with some of these parts. Like his little recliner here. Get focus in and we'll give you a better detailed look. There's just a lot of little intricate pieces to put on, like the little feet, the legs for the recliner. You have to pop those in. If you turn it around on the back, you can see how it's kind of like those Lego pieces, those hinge pieces. And you can actually recline it all the way back if you want, and all the way up. And if I pop this off, you can see how it's exactly like those Lego hinges. And I've said it in my previous videos for the Daryl with Chopper and preview before that, these are compatible with Legos and other building block sets. So I thought that was really neat. But yeah, that sofa is really nice looking. It looks just like how it looked in the show, only downsized for this little miniature version of the governor, which this governor is stuck in a sitting position. Got a glass of whiskey in his other hands, posed to where it looks like it's resting on the arm of the chair. He's lounging back. And one of the only complaints that I have for these little figures, I think they put a lot of detail into them except for the face. I'll try to zoom in really close here and show you that they do not paint the eyes. They just kind of have these blank expressions. Not too much detail on the face itself. Could have at least used just the littlest black dot on the eyes. I may go back and try to touch up some of these myself later on. But that's one figure you get in this set, and then the other is his daughter Penny, which I'm surprised they didn't have an extra head for with her actual head. This is when you first see her and she has that bag over her head, which is kind of neat and creepy. But the dress is just like the dress she wore in the show. Even has little slippers. So overall, pretty good detail for such a tiny little figure. And she has that same C-hook, which will hook on to where you have them on the actual display. Well, I'll pull out a piece. You get extra pieces in these sets as well, which is really nice. So you can add some more of these peg holes if you want, or less of them and just have regular looking boards. And as you can see on the bottom, they're just like Legos. And that's how you hook in these characters. You just pop it right in there and they will hold on. So that's how you position them. So that's the other character you get in this. And now we'll take a look at just this overall build. I'll kind of explain how it's done. Some more extra pieces are these little shelves. And they can go right on those bases like I just showed. You can see the bottom of them. And the detail on these is really nice for being so small. Two handles on opposite sides. It's a plain cover. And on the bottom it looks like a Lego. And there's two of those. And there's also this lamp, which I actually am not going to take it off because it gets hooked on there really tight. But you have to build that. You have to insert those rods down into that base and kind of build it up. Same thing with the actual rod going into the lamp. So basically everything you have to build. And there's also a little bucket of gore from when the governor would feed Penny. And there is no bottom to hook it onto those holes. It's just a flat bottom. And that is some gory detail in that bucket. But neat little accessory. And the actual door has some nice detail to it as well. With a little bit of blood on it. Of course it's on a hinge so you can swing it open. And there is a little bit of room on the other side because that's supposed to be Penny's room. And I have a couple pegs there. The poser coming out if I want. But basically, you start off building this with just the normal base. And you lay these floorboards along here. And you kind of stagger them exactly how you would hardwood wood floors. And some of them have those holes in them, those pegs. So you can position the characters and so forth. But I really like it because they're all detailed a little differently. Some are darker than others, and if you're paying attention you can kind of match them up really nice and look like they kind of flow the way they should. And one little tip of something I did that I thought looked pretty nice is actually leaving some of them not pegged in on one side, like you see this one right here, to make it look like the floorboards bowing upward. I thought that looked pretty nice. And the actual wall itself, you kind of have to stagger them like the floorboards whenever you're building it up. But as you can see, they're all real nicely detailed and have darker patches on some of them. But all in all, it's basically just like stacking Legos. And of course, the neatest thing about this set is the fish tank. And I will actually pop the whole display off and show you. And the bottoms can plug into those holes on the back so it'll stay a little better. But they do light up on these bases. If you see on the back, they have the little screws, which you will have to undo these main ones and insert the batteries that it does come with, 4 batteries total. And on the sides there's little switches, turn it off and on both sides. And basically whenever you plug this in, you want it to be all the way to the edge over here so you can have enough room with your finger on this side to flip that switch on that side. So you do not want it going to the edge of this wall over here. But every single fish tank has different heads, and these heads you actually have to slide in there. If I take this top one off, you can see how the tops are just caps, and that's how you insert those in there. You stick them all the way in the back portion of it. And I think if you wanted to put water in these, you actually could, but I'm not going to recommend that. I'm not doing that myself, but I don't see why you couldn't. You could do that with the Mcfarlane Season 3 display. But these are so tiny, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. But all those heads are different. And it even has some of our main character zombies, like or zombies that you saw how they got in these fish tanks, like Michonne's pets, and then that helicopter pilot up top. I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah, and this is what they look like whenever you turn the lights off. And all these fish tanks, if you can see how they have black borders, you kind of have to match those up. Some of them don't have corner pieces, and I actually got one less tank with a right side black border here. If I pop this off, you actually see that I got a double of the right side. So they actually messed my piece count up on that, but all in all, it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, all in all, I have to give this playset, this building set, a high recommendation. Even if you're not a fan of these building sets, I think this one warrants Walking Dead fans a buy enough just being what it is. It's a nice little display of the governor's room, especially if you're a big Governor fan. I don't see how you could pass this up. It's really neat and was fun to build. So, alright guys, run out and pick it up if you want them. They're at Toys R Us right now, and then after the holidays, they will be available at all retailers. So, pick them up if you want them, and stay tuned. I will have the blind bag reviews coming up next. Later.